Oh boy, after months of planning and just days of coding, we're ready to lift the curtain of the major upgrade to the Emerald Font. And you, my friend, are invited to test the first alpha release. How did we get from an idea to a working prototype? Well, I'm about to tell ya. So light up your candlesticks and get ready for Emerald Font 2. Hey everyone, welcome to the Emerald Show. How did you all sleep? Really well, that's just great. You know I slept pretty great myself too. Special welcome to our Emerald Rock Candy Patreon subscribers. Wow, it's finally here, the Emerald Font 2 Alpha. Emphasis on Alpha, it's not going to be a full working version, more on that later. First off, I wanted to start with a little bit of an apology because I promised to keep the Alpha version up and running for as long as necessary. It turns out that was much harder to do. A lot of people are using the version 1 and I'm super happy, super grateful. There were even some people subscribing to my Patreon. Absolutely lovely. Thank you very much. Like really, makes me feel good. There's never been this many subscribers on my Patreon and I was enthusiastic when I had even one. Wonder if anyone even subscribed already. What? Holy fuck! Holy fuck! Mam! Is iemand de Patreon aangemeld? But overall, thanks so much. It was so cool. Everything from the moment of meeting Fanctality and Dardonaci all the way to having people actually use this stuff in the dashboard. It was wow. But ultimately, I started calculating a little bit while working on version 2 and I noticed that on average, about 3 hours were spent on debugging, support, maintenance, and there was a lot of support. Like a lot of people were using this. I was so stoked. I did not expect that to happen. Of course, I'm using it because ultimately I'm dogfooding this thing. Anyway, if you want to know more about the first version, the first 2 videos will be in the description below. So ultimately, I decided to send it to retirement and focus fully on the new version, because I think that's where things are heading. So, without further ado, let's take a look at how it works. The whole idea behind the Emerald Font was that you can make, share, edit and optimize strategies all from the same place. Now, at this task it was performing pretty well, but ultimately it became harder and harder to make it go in the direction that it should be going. So Emerald Font 2 is built entirely from the ground up. Absolutely nothing. It was like the Big Bang of Hummingbot itself, and boy, it was really something to come up with. So the Emerald Font 2 project is going to be split up into 2 separated projects. The first is the Emerald Font Studio, which is a graphical user interface that uses node-based programming like Lego to build your strategies. The second is going to be the Emerald Font Strategy. Now this part is going to be integrated in Hummingbot. It's going to be like a runtime that lets executables exported from the studio be imported into the strategy. And they are going to be run at native speeds. This is going to be done by something called WebAssembly, which is kind of like what Java was in the past, and it lets you run executables on various architectures. Nevertheless, this also lets us run these executables at native speeds, allowing us to trade as fast as possible. It also allows you to share your strategies without sharing the strategy, because you can compile your strategies and upload them elsewhere without sharing your source code. Ain't that lovely? So now that we know what it is, let's take a look at how it's made. It's all started with an ID, which was just a sketch. This really didn't take that long. The second portion, planning, that was actually taking really long, and it didn't even happen behind the computer. It all happened with me just meditating, laying on bed, and the reason why it's so hard is one word: nodes. Nodes are the foundation of the Emerald Font Studio application. They are everywhere. Everything that you do, from fetching data to making orders, all is a node. Now, making this was not a joke. It really took long. I could feel my brain begging to do something with my hands again, because it really took a lot of thinking. In Emerald Font Studio, every node has a double function. When you run the application, the nodes are being so fast that backtesting happens pretty much in real time. In fact, we can run some of these operations on the GPU. This is so nice. You don't have to click a button to backtest anymore. It just works in real time, even if you don't have a super fast computer. The performance is absolutely breathtaking. But when trading live, we wanted to push even further. This whole runtime with nodes you don't really need. So in this moment, the nodes are turning from nodes into code generators. They generate the source code that's being compiled natively to an executable. Now doing this and doing this beautifully and fast at the same time was really a struggle. But ultimately, I'm so happy that I did it. I could have cooked up something really ugly really fast, but this is going to be a foundation. This isn't just the node-based programming. It's the plugin architecture, because this is also cool. Every node is a plugin, even the low-level ones. All of this is the foundation of the application. If the foundation is ugly, everything else is going to be ugly as well. And if the foundation later changes to something good, that means that everything that's built on top had to be changed as well. That's why I spent so much time not behind the computer, because I wanted to be sure that this was good, absolutely perfect, that anything that's going to be built on top is going to be perfect as well. And boy, there it is. So here you see a demo of how it looks. You basically take some data, you split up the candles, you add some orders to it, and then poof, there it is, real time. So now that we know what it is, how it's made, what is in it for you? Well, the alpha version is public. That means that anyone can try it out. For starters, I made sure that the alpha version can run inside the browser. That means that you don't need to install anything. However, I cannot guarantee that that will be forever. It could be that in the future that the alpha version or the beta version or the final version will be a native application that you have to install in order to run it fully. This is because we need to communicate with Hummingbot, and that's quite hard from the browser. So while the alpha version is public and is easily runnable, I really hope that the people that are going to join are serious about this and want to really see this progress further. With that, if you need any help, feel free to join my Discord server. I'm happy to chat there. Also, you can tag me in the Hummingbot Discord server at Emerald, should be fine. And I will be there to answer any of your questions. Now, this is really an alpha version. There is not much functions there yet because of the heavy emphasis on building the foundation. So what is not there right now is actual live trading, and there is no data right now. The candlesticks that you see are randomly generated. This is just testing data. There are also not many nodes. Pretty much anything that you can do right now is simple moving average, which in itself doesn't even work. It just returns the same data as that it puts in. But this is of course just the start. Many more nodes will arrive. I have some very complex market making strategies running right now live on Hummingbot, and I intend to make them with Emerald Fund 2, so there will be a lot more nodes. And as time goes on, of course, I will also write some tutorials about how to make your own nodes and compile them into the application. So now that we got that out of the way, for the technical people among us, I really wanted to share something I was really proud of. One thing that was really important was the real-time execution, and doing that fast was really difficult. My guess was that you needed to build some very complex compute graph and just execute it like one after the other, and you have to decide which one goes first. It just sounded really complex, but ultimately, Occam's razor, the simple solution, is probably the right one. How does it work? Well, it's very simple. When you have a group of nodes in your application, what we do is we simply loop over all the nodes and we determine if a node is what we call executable. When is it executable? Well, if the node has a input or more connected to the output of another node, and if that other node is already executed before. So we start with the market data, which is a node without any inputs and only outputs. By default, this one is executable because technically speaking, all the inputs have been accounted for because there are none. This will make the node green. When it's green, it means it's executable. Now, when we add another node, the title will be red. This means that it's not executable. This is because one of the inputs is either not filled or the node that came before hasn't been executed yet. Now, simply attaching the market data node to, for example, a split candle node will make the split candle node green because now all the inputs have been accounted for and all the nodes that came before, in this case 1, has already been executed. Now we can execute the split candle node and it becomes green. Attaching any nodes to the split candle node will in turn repeat the process. In doing so, we can simply keep running this code until all nodes have been made green. The cool thing about this is that you can do this in parallel. You can fetch a group of nodes, execute them all in parallel on multiple cores on your CPU, and be done. Bob's your uncle. So that's it. I'm really grateful. Thanks so much to everyone, the Hummingbot team, the Patreon subscribers, the members on Discord, everyone. I am so happy to share this with you guys. I hope you enjoy the next version, and I'll be patiently waiting for your feature requests, suggestions, feedback, and perhaps even bugs. I love you all, and let's make this thing super, super cool together. I hope to see you next time. Bye for now.